Welcome to my second video on sampling. In the last video, we talked about um, random sampling and non-random sampling. In this video, we're going to talk about specific methods in each of those. So some sampling techniques that would be random include simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, and MUS sampling. So remember, random sampling is the one that allows us to control for the idea that we might have a non-representative sample or sampling risk. So if we want to make sure that our sample is representative, we're going to choose one of these options. Some other sections or methods that we could choose that are not non-random are block selection or haphazard selection. So this video will talk about these six. So the first one is a simple random sampling. This is where every item has an equal chance of being included in the sample. So this is like the bingo wheel. Everything in that bingo wheel has an equal chance of being selected. So in auditing, we might use a random number generator that would help us to randomly select items from our population. Simple random sample definitely would control for some of that sampling risk. We could also do a systematic sample where we have a random starting point and then every nth item is selected. So the auditor selects every 50th invoice. So we would randomly select a number, so 172 maybe would be our randomly selected number. We would choose 172. We would count 50 more and count and take a sample, take that item into the sample until we reach however many items that we needed. So that is systematic sampling. Stratified sampling is one that we might use quite a bit when there are different characteristics within our population. So if, let's say we have 10,000 invoices and the majority of those invoices are small, under $1,000, and then we have a whole bunch of them that are really large, over like $100,000. We might break those up into two different groups or stratum and sample each of those individually. So we would take one sample from the small group and make a conclusion about that small group, and then take another sample from the large group and draw a conclusion about those large items. So that is stratified sampling, where we are breaking up the items and then randomly selecting from those groups based on their characteristic. MUS sampling is another type of sampling that we use in auditing. And here, instead of each item being the unit that we use to choose, we use each dollar as the unit that we use to choose. And this gives higher dollar value items a greater likelihood of being selected. So in that past example where I said we have a whole bunch of invoices under 1,000, well, each dollar of that invoice would be one sampling unit. So an invoice worth 1,000 would have 1,000 chances of being selected. Whereas maybe those items that are 100,000, they would have 100,000 chances of being selected. So this is really good to put more emphasis on those bigger items that are might have more risk of causing material misstatement. The problem with these is where you might have things missing, or you might have $0 value items. Those would not have a very good likelihood of getting selected. So those could cause some problems. Block selection, you'll notice this one is a little different. It doesn't have the folders. So this is my non-statistical method. So block selection and the next one are going to be my non-statistical methods that are not able to control for sampling risk. So in block selections, we choose things that are close to one another or in a block. So for example, the auditor could choose items from March 10th to March 14th. And we're going to look at those because they're all going to be listed or invoiced or on the register all at the same time. So it'll be easy. We just can choose those items because they're close to one another. That means if it was on March 8th, there's no chance that it's going to get selected. If it was in December, no chance it's going to get selected because we are only looking at those things in this particular date range. So because of there's, not an equal likelihood that all items from our population will be selected, it is not a statistical method and therefore it does not control for sampling risk. And then the last one is haphazard selection, where we're using some other method that is not completely random. So just like flipping through and randomly grabbing some items or choosing things based on a particular characteristic. Those would be haphazard selection, and that would not control for our sampling risk. So that is my method video. I have 2 more videos for you, one on attribute sampling and one on variable sampling. So don't forget to watch those. Thanks. Have a great day.